it turned out better, that's for sure. So
Yeah, I like it a lot. How do you feel? How do you feel?
I like it too. I didn't really style it today because I wanted to see how it would dry naturally.
Yeah.
Um, so I can style it a little bit better next time. But
No, it's good. It's not like, because you know how short sometimes it's like fuller because it's shorter. Yeah, it's full. It looks full and healthy, but it doesn't look like crazy.
like I told Drake, I last time I got my hair cut like this and bangs, I looked like that berries and cream guy from that Skittles commercial.
Okay,
And
I do
it's like a
not.
triangle, or like Coconut Head from
Yes,
Ned's Declassified. Yeah,
yes.
but she like thinned it around my ears in the back, so it didn't poof out like that.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's a good
yeah,
hairstylist. I like that. Good.
yeah. Oh, I have a lot of feelings right now about what's going on, what happened, where we are, where we came from.
I agree with you, but you know what? It's the end of the road. I as like as many feelings as I have, we might have. I am so happy that it's the final episode.
That it's at least over. What are your overall thoughts of the episode? Thumbs up, thumbs down?
Oh God, can we get into it? Let's.
Okay, okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay. We
that's
can.
not an easy answer.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, wait, but hold on. What about you? Up,
I
down.
I will say again, I have a lot of feelings. I have a lot of emotions about it. I will say overall, thumbs up.
Yeah. Okay. Like,
It did not leave me dissatisfied or like confused. More, you know what I mean.
yeah, yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I get that. I could agree. No, I do agree with you. Yeah.
There's some parts that
Some is being generous and nice, but sure.
yeah, there was a lot. There was a lot. Okay.
Are you watching this? You need to get with it. Are you watching this? We on a TV shit. Are you watching this? You don't wanna miss. Are you watching this? Stop canceling our shit.
This is the Are You Watching This podcast. I'm Chelsea F. And like Emil, I too have verve and wiles.
And I'm Ellen E. And Gemma, I am so sorry. I will avenge you next season. Don't worry.
Mm-hmm. So this episode starts off with the title straight away. So we
Yes.
got that over with. Did you rewatch them for this episode?
No, I did not. I did not. Did
I
you?
did just to see if there was any further connections that, like we didn't catch, but I didn't really see any new ones.
Okay, so in terms of the title sequence, every shot we got on it, we saw that throughout the season.
Yeah, pretty much. The
Okay.
only one kind of is the baby situation, but they were at the birthing cabinet. I think, some of them may have been a little bit more abstract.
Okay, yeah, I get that. Is that why people thought Helly was pregnant? Now that I think about
Probably,
it.
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Or that, yeah,
Or Helena, whoever they
yeah.
were pregnant. Yes, yeah. Okay.
But thankfully, that did not happen. That's one reason
No.
I'm going to give it a thumbs up because,
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Like nothing outlandish in terms of the storyline happened, but also it wasn't as clean, like through
mhm,
line as it could have been. So yeah.
mhm. So we pick up after the title sequence, we pick up where the last episode ended, and we have Miss Cobell. She's upstairs in the birthing cabinet, standing ominously in front of the fire, and she asks Any Mark if he has finished Cold Harbor. He's very confused by what's going on because he's like just stepped into here.
Yeah.
And he tells her that he's not finished. And she says that then that means that she's still alive. Again, Mark's really confused. So he's like, who? And she says, Miss Casey. And Devin corrects her and was like, no, Gemma.
Yeah.
Um, and then Miss Cobell goes on to tell Mark about the exports hall. And he's like, oh, we already know about this. And that's the end of
Because
the
of
first scene.
Irving. Yeah, exactly. Which he's like Irving's drawings, and that's the last we hear about Irving.
Yes, that's okay. I have at the end like my
Okay.
all like overall, and that was one that I was like, so no more Irving this season. I don't. What are we
Yeah.
doing here?
I don't know, but we can talk about it more at the end.
Okay. So we get to the next scene, which is we pick up with Helly, where she's trying to memorize the directions to the exports hall.
Yes.
And this is when her creepy father walks up. And he, in this scene, brings up the little speech she gave during the gala at the end of last season
Yeah.
and said that he was really mad at her after, and he even threw a tin of candies. And I wrote, I see he has his tempers tamed.
That's funny. That's a good one.
And did you have something to say?
Mm-mm.
And then
No.
he tells her that he does not love his daughter. So that was a lot, I feel like,
Fucking
and
weird.
unnecessary.
Yeah.
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 And that I guess why he doesn't love his daughter, this is probably why, because he explains that he used to see Kier in her, but that changed when she got older. And then he confesses that he had kids in secret and he didn't see Kier in them. I'm assuming he
Yeah.
had them to see if he could find Kier.
Yeah. I think so.
So that confirms, we kind of talked about that last episode, the theory, the idea that maybe he was having other
More or less.
children.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a Elon Musk situation. I don't know. First one to
Yeah,
came to mind.
as if those are the best genes to keep replicating.
Right. Right.
And he says he didn't see Kier in any of them until he saw her, and that tomorrow is a very special day.
Yeah. So that kind of so he was saying he saw Kieran Helly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Whatever the fuck. Okay. Sorry. Keep going.
Yeah. Well, then we go back to Cobell. She's explaining to Annie Mark about what will happen once he finishes Cold Harbor, and that they will not let him leave MDR until he does.
Yes.
So when he finishes, he needs to immediately go to the exports hall and go down to the testing floor where he will switch to Audi Mark, and then Audi Mark will go get Gemma, and then once they're back to the severed floor, Annie Mark will take her to the exit stairwell. So she's kind of mapping out like their plan to save her.
Yeah.
And Devin tells him, if they can do this, that'll end Lumen. And then Annie Mark's starting to be like, but if you close Lumen, what's going to happen to me and all the other Annies?
Right.
And he realizes like, oh, you want me to sacrifice myself for you to save Gemma.
Yes.
And he's like, okay. And I felt like this scene, in the whole episode, but really this scene shed a little bit more light on the any outie human, non-human conversation.
Yeah.
At least for me.
Yeah.
We get kind of Mark's side of it, or Mark's side of it. And his perspective is probably the one I agree with the most.
Yeah.
And I think historically what I've kind of like felt following the show.
Yeah, I think they have made us empathize with his Audi more, the Audi more. Yeah.
But we see now any Mark's kind of, I think he's also really just piecing it all together himself.
Yes.
And it did very much make you realize, like, because if you're from any Mark's perspective, of course, that's your whole life.
Yes.
Exactly. And you aren't making that choice to not be there anymore.
Yeah, to even like, yeah, true. Or even to have gained conscious, like that wasn't his choice either. So I agree with you. But, we are a bunch of Audis saying all of this. I wonder how our innies would feel.
Probably the same way. I'm sure. My innie would have been Helly trying to chop off her fingers day 2.
Yeah.
If I didn't want to be there.
Yeah. What was that?
So when he's kind of piecing this together, Miss Cobell does say, like, that doesn't have to be the end for all the innies. And then she hands him the camera and is like, watch this video and then step outside and record your response. So we get this amazing back and forth scene with
Yes.
Audi Mark and Annie Mark. And
Agreed.
I loved this. I
Me too.
loved everything
Cinema.
about it.
It was cinema. It was like, yes. Yeah. I loved
So
it.
yeah, cinema, like visually, it was perfect because you not only get the acting, which
Yeah.
was amazing, but
Amazing.
you get the
Yes.
visual differences
Yes.
as to who's who.
Yes, exactly. Agreed. The difference between the two. It was so good. Adam Scott, round of applause.
I know. And we'll okay. Yes, he did amazing. So there's a bunch of little back and forths. I just kind of summarized what I got from it. I
Mhm.
did write down each one, but I was like, this is going to be a long, intense episode
Agreed.
as is. Let's summarize. So I'm going to summarize it and let me
Yes.
know if you got anything else or what other
Okay.
kind of feelings you had from it.
Okay.
So Audi Mark does apologize to Any Mark for creating him as a prisoner. And I like that kind of apology between those two.
Yes.
But then Any Mark corrects him. And he's like, thank you for the apology, but actually it hasn't been a nightmare. And expresses that the Innies don't want to end their lives.
Yeah.
And then Any Mark is also leery that Audi Mark kind of like his intent or really cares because he hasn't shown any interest in helping him or making sure that he's okay until now when he wants something.
Yeah.
And he's also not very trusting of this reintegration process because
Yeah.
for yes, he in theory would get to live, but then Helly's not going to live. So,
Yeah.
and that's what he
He
wants.
says. Yeah, and he says that.
And
No,
then
Addie Mark says. Anyways, sorry. Doesn't matter.
and then Audi Mark brings up Helly, and this is when Any Mark really starts to lash out.
Yes.
Because they're kind of having like a friendly back and forth, a nice debate, and then he really makes Any Mark very mad.
Yeah, I think it was the disrespect with getting her name wrong, which, fair. I feel like, yeah, a name is like someone's identity. And if you belittle it or don't care to get it right, it says a lot. So I understood.
Yeah, and I wrote that the back and forth ends when Audi Mark is just like he has enough. He calls Devin up and tells her that Any Mark is acting like a child, which we've talked about that kind of theme. That's I think the creators talk about it as a theme as well, about Audi Mark being an adult and Any
Yeah.
Mark, I think in this season being a teenager. Last was like a little bit more childish. This
Yeah.
year's a teenager, and so I don't know, with Mark bringing it up the way Audi Mark bringing it up the way that he did, it felt so condescending to
Yes.
me. It felt like when you're a kid, and I even think we kind of talked about this in another episode about something else, but for a child, if you were 14, 15, you've only
Yeah.
lived that many years. So every milestone, everything in your life is a big deal because
Yes.
that's all you've experienced. And it
Yes.
reminds me of like when you talk to an adult as a child and they just like they kind of belittle or just, shrink
Yeah.
down the importance of what you're talking about because
Yes. You haven't lived enough or lived longer than as if you have like control of how long you or when you were born or something. So yeah, I agree. That's a great comparison.
yeah, I didn't like it. So it was kind of rude.
Yeah, Audi Mark was very he had a toot. He had a toot. But both were right in my
Yes.
eyes, like this man is trying to save his wife and then this one is trying to save his life. Truly. So, yeah, I got it.
I didn't feel again I my even at the end my overall opinion still is on Audi Mark's side,
Yeah.
but that's because I'm coming from my Audi's perspective.
Yeah. We need to get
So
an innie on the show.
we do. I'll just hit my head hard enough and I won't remember things.
Yeah. Or we can like puncture a hole through it. Call Dr. R.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'll do it in my basement. Miss Cobell then tries to talk to Any Mark. They're trying to like still break through to him.
Yeah.
And she explains that the numbers are his wife and he is a doorway into her mind. and he feels different things for her, different numbers, because
Yeah.
those are her tempers. So woe, frolic, malice, and dread.
Yeah.
And once he finishes the file, Mark and Gemma will have fulfilled their purpose and will be no longer any use to Lumen.
Mm-hmm.
And that there will be no happy ending for him and Helly either because of that.
Yeah.
So she's speaking the truth, I'm pretty sure. But again, what if she's trying to convince any Mark to
Yeah.
go along with this plan? That's not the best way to get there.
Yeah, but she doesn't have her approach is never gentle or never kind, really. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
to the point at the beginning and then it just like it goes like she's like, no, wait, this is not me. So she's never gonna, you know, say it in the right way.
No. Yeah. Nobody should have let her talk to him.
Mm-mm. Oh, I do want to say well, I don't know which one of us said. I want to say it was you because I genuinely think you are the smarter one of us when it comes to this this show. But how we were like Mark has to have like controlling her
Mm-hmm.
tempers because of the marriage thing, the love, all of it. So at least we got one thing right on this damn
Mm-hmm.
podcast.
I was revisiting a couple things, and we were not that far off on some of the things. I think we were very much following the main storyline. It was just
Okay.
kind of the side stuff that we got a little off on.
Okay.
And Ms. Cabell reminds Mark that, or tells him that reintegration is the only way that he can still live.
Yeah.
And Mark gets really upset about all of this because he doesn't trust these people, and tells Devin that if she loves his brother, then the next thing he will see is a severed floor.
Yes.
Otherwise, Outie Mark is never going to see his wife again.
Yeah. Okay. Before we go into the next scene, I did want to ask
Uh-huh.
you, do you think you would be able to tell another version of yourself what to do?
No, absolutely not.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. Me too. I was like, would my any listen to me? No. Mm-mm.
No, I'd be like, I know how dumb I am. I'm not. Yeah,
I was
absolutely
thinking
not.
the opposite. I would be thinking, I know how smart I am. Like I'm smarter than you, even I'm you, and you know.
Exactly. But that's what I'm saying. Is like I know how dumb they act sometimes, and I know how smart I am, and
Yeah.
so it would just be. And that's kind
Yes.
of actually, I say this sometimes somewhat jokingly, but not entirely. Like I think if I had a kid that was like me, I don't think that would go over well.
Oh, 100%. Me too. Me too. Like I agree with you when I think about if I were to have a kid, if they were too similar to me, yeah, I think the kid would have no life. Does that make sense?
Because you wouldn't let them do anything, or because they'd be
Yeah, I would
grounded
just
all the time.
yeah, I would just, reading the bullshit. It would be too close to home. Yeah.
Mhm.
That'd have to be like their father.
Yeah, I think I've told you this, that with our other dog Molly, she gets so stubborn, like she just won't physically move. And I feel like
Yes,
when
you
we
do.
have these like little battles, I'm like the stepmom and she's like the stepdaughter. And
Yeah.
after she does it for a couple days, I just told Drake, I'm like, you have to deal with your daughter. Like I can't handle her. She's not listening to me.
Wait, but in that case, would Molly be your like too much of your personality then, do you think?
Yeah, the stubbornness part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Okay, so yeah, well, did I mention this after? Do I want to mention it now? Is that a question I have at the end?
What is it? Now you
No,
got to
I don't think
mention
it
it.
is.
No?
Well, so like you said, we have confirmation that Mark is a connection to Gemma and her memories and
Mhm.
feelings.
Mhm.
But what we still don't know is like how they got Gemma and why they picked Gemma specifically.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll
I
get those answers next season?
No. I don't. Do you?
No, probably not. Because what did we learn this whole season? What was going on the testing floor? And we got Jim on the
Right.
outside. That is all that happened.
Right. And did we
That is
actually learn
all.
what's going on in the testing floor? Like, because we had the whole Irving part of it that. he clearly knew what was going on. If he or he, I don't know. We can get it. But it was
Okay. Yep. We get another really amazing transition where,
yes,
because Any Mark's like, the next thing I should see is the severed floor, and we have Any Mark. He is out. He's in the cabin, birthing cabin, and then he is in the severed elevator. It's
yeah,
like this weird looking at his face transition thing,
it's
and we
really
hear
cool.
the elevator
Ding.
noise,
Yeah.
and then the elevator doors open. When the elevator doors open, he is standing like his twin from the Ortbo. You remember how his twin was like standing with his arms like really stiffly
Mm.
beside him, like a Ken doll or something?
Yeah.
He was standing like that in the elevator. I just thought that was weird, and it just looks so similar to, I don't know. I do think
That.
Any Mark is more stiff, but not like that.
No. Yeah. I agree. I
It was just
agree.
something I noticed.
Yeah.
And then there's also that super weird mural of Mark and everyone else, Lumen and non-Lumen employees alike, watching him as he finishes Cold Harbor. Like Rickon's in there, Devin's in
Man,
there.
man, man, man. When I saw this, I said, man, this show can go to hell. I said, I am done. What do you mean? Why is everybody on it?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody we have
Mm-hmm.
met from the show is
Mm-hmm.
in this. Even if they might have not known, like they don't even know each other. Why? Why are we? Why? Yeah.
I mean,
Anyways.
I think we do know that Lumen is always watching them, even outside of
Yeah.
work.
But
So,
yeah, sure they
but
are
still,
true.
but
With
still,
their like their tight security down there running a tight ship with their
okay, so that actually leads in. So Helly arrives right behind him, right?
yeah.
And then the severed floor hallway lights start lighting up in a way that kind of like leads them to MDR.
Yeah.
And so, yes, none of them are good at their job down on the severed floor except for the theatrics, because I'm pretty sure this is just Mr. Milchick controlling the lights, because later we see him like turn them off.
Yeah. Oh, why did I feel like that was a slight on Milchick though? Not too much of
No,
Milchick and his theatrics.
he's so good at them though. Like,
He
I
is.
love
He
that for
is.
him.
He is. They should have had that in his performance review, like as a positive.
Yeah, theatrics, A plus.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so they walk to MDR holding hands. And when they get there, we see that wax figure of Kier.
Mm-hmm.
And he's standing there and he has a letter in his hand, and it's from Mr.
Mm-hmm.
Milchick. That's just like, today's a big day and we're here to celebrate. I did, at the end of the letter, it says, "Love, Mr. Milchick." And I
Yes.
loved that so much, because
Me too.
I do think he loves them.
I do too. I do too. Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's his life. Like he's sacrificing even parts of himself to be a part of this project and company and thing. So I think he really does love them.
And I don't think he would use that word if he didn't mean it.
Yeah, I agree.
And then, just really quickly, because it comes into play later, Mr. Milchick greets Dylan at the elevator. And I want to know, why did we bring back Dylan if today is the last day of things? Like,
I mean,
that's,
he comes into play later, but
but like,
I
still,
know. I know. When we get into Dylan's scene, I do have things to say about
okay.
Dylan.
Okay. Then Gemma opens up her closet and she sees the outfit for the day, and she recognizes it as the same one she wore on her last day with Mark. So she's
Why are
like,
they doing
something's
this to
up.
my girl? Like, why are it's just torture upon torture upon torture? Yeah,
Yeah.
I will avenge her.
Yes. Yeah. Helly and Mark discuss what Miss Cobell told him as he works to finish the file. But he also is like, I could just maybe not finish it. And Helly reminds him that if what Miss Cobell is saying is the truth, and they're screwed either way. So even if he
Yeah,
doesn't finish it, like they're still gonna, I don't, come after him, or whatever.
yeah, whatever.
And
We're
then,
so over this.
yeah. Well, because what is
I'm
the
just
other
gonna keep
option?
laughing. No, honestly, I agree. Either cry or laugh or whatever.
We go back to Gemma. Gemma's like, what the hell's going on? And the nurse just says, get dressed. Everything's fine. But Gemma knows it's not.
Right. She's about to, yeah.
And then we're back to Helly and Mark. And Helly tells Mark that if they did get Gemma out, it would probably take down Lumen, like his sister said, and then he could reintegrate, and that would give him a chance to live.
Yeah.
And he says that he wants to live here with you, or he's like, I want to live here with you, which was really sweet. So again, yeah, Mark expresses that he wants to live there with Helly, and I thought that was really sweet.
Yeah.
Really sweet.
It was beautiful. Someone, I mean, I could mention this now or later. I'll mention it now. Someone tweeted, and I thought it was so perfect how any Mark. Wait, Adam Scott perfectly portrays how Addie Mark loves for Gemma. His Addie's. Wait, I'll mention it later.
Okay. I get what you're saying, but yes, we can.
Yeah.
But yeah, that scene just made me really sad. But she reminds Mark, she's like, I am Helena. And he then decides, like, okay, I'll complete the file as one tearful tear rolls down his face.
And was it like, I'm just being annoying now, but was it like, I am Helena, wink? Or
I wrote the exact same thing. I said the way that she said that and the way that she looked at his face made me, or the look on his face, made me feel like she was telling Mark, I am Helena.
Her. Yeah.
Helly is Helena in this moment.
Yes.
But what I'll say until I bring it up again in the next scene or two is I think that's the whole point, is to have the debate of the any outies. Are they different? Are they the same? I think ultimately that's what we're supposed to get from it.
Yeah. It's just we can let me write it down what I want to say at the end.
Okay.
Debate any outie.
Okay. So as Mark decides to finish the file, we get a frame that shows Dr. Maurer and Mr. Drummond eagerly watching Mark finish the file from the floor down below.
Yes. Ooh, I did want to mention, sorry, the equator, was this before he finished or after the equator line? Well, the country
is before it comes up, yeah.
Yeah.
And just a couple more scenes.
Oh, it comes out after or before he finishes the file?
Yeah, after.
Oh, after. Okay, never mind. Keep going. Sorry.
We go to Dylan and Mr. Milchek. They're in the new break room, and Mr. Milchek gives Dylan his Audi's response to his request to quit. And he tells Dylan because it might make him emotional and because he is swamped, he will let Dylan read it alone. And then Mr. Milchek abruptly turns around and sprints away. And the physical comedy in that scene is like so out of left field, but I loved it so much.
So good. It did not belong. It does not belong in the show, but it does.
And I think I wrote it down when we get to like the big musical number.
Yes.
That I felt like this episode, the absurdity in it went back to the goofy vibe of season 1.
Yeah.
We had more of this, like, because remember the very first scene, Helly throws the intercom at Mark's head, and he's like, oh fuck, and then she like run, like, there was that kind of humor before.
Agreed. And again, what made the show, it's such a intense, head-hurting storyline topic, but then those kind of bits of humor just makes you like remember, oh, this is silly as fuck, which I appreciated Milchek reminding us.
Yes. Yeah, it was so funny. Dylan reads his Audi's response, which is 3 parts. And these are the 3 parts I wrote down. 1, fuck you. 2, he gets it. And 3, he hopes his wife will see in him what she sees in any Dylan one day.
Yeah.
and he thinks that, he's like, you can leave if you want, but I think you should stay.
Yeah. Okay. Loved the letter.
Hmm.
I do want to say, okay, let's talk about where we're gonna leave it for last, but I'm gonna say it now. How you said like the whole point of Helly and Helena is like the innie and the outies to show that they are similar. I think with Dylan's storyline, with Dylan's storyline, when we get to the end, outie Dylan is like, I hope there is any Dylan in me and it comes out. That's why I want you to stay. Like it gives me hope that I can be you one day. If you just died or if I killed you, like the hope kind of dissipates, right? Or the knowing I am that person down there, a good person, dissipates. So my whole thing with that is okay, cool. We're not meant to, or we're meant to know that these two any outies complete each other. Mark for me, Mark's any outie, they're so different.
Yeah, the only thing, yeah, no, I agree.
So that's where the storyline of the any outie being similar or like love transcending it all, it holds true for all these other characters but Mark. And
I agree with you. I think that the any outie storyline, or the message that they're trying to send with any outie, is not consistent and is not very clear.
okay, Chelsea said it in a way better way than I did. Yes, yeah, simple way. Yeah,
I think that's what we've been saying the whole entire season, because we're like,
yeah,
this is what we're getting from this scenario, this is what we're getting from them, and then we kind of see different sides of that the next episode. And
yeah. It's confusing, and I
yeah,
hate it for the audience. And then one more other thing with Audi Dylan's letter and like just Dylan's storyline in general this season, because this is, I mean, we find out at the end that that's all we're getting with the storyline, really. Well, do you think this is all we're getting with Dylan's storyline? Do you think it's gonna come back up
any
next? Any
Dylan.
Dylan? Yeah.
mm,
Or maybe like a better question would be, do you think there was a purpose for this storyline for next season?
what storyline are you talking about? The
Dylan's storyline, because he didn't want to leave in the beginning. Episode 1, Irving wanted to leave, or 2,
Mhm.
whatever. When we first see Irving wanted to leave, and Dylan was team player, whatever. And then we got this whole family visit situation with his storyline, and then we've seen that play out throughout the whole season. And truly, I thought there was going to be a point to it, but we come to the end, and it's like, okay, this was genuinely a separate storyline for Dylan throughout the season.
Yes, and I don't know if like I don't know what we'll get from it, or if it will play out next season in any form or fashion. I To me, what I got from it is it's again showing the innies versus outies, their behaviors, how they're different, how they're similar.
Okay.
That's what I think it was there for. That's what I got from it. It didn't answer any
Okay.
questions and it made me more confused, but I think
Yeah.
that's what it was there for.
So we basically just got a separate storyline of Dylan being the main character in his story to show us the any outies being similar or whatever the fuck they were trying to show us.
Yeah, because especially because we didn't see his outie at all in season 1, and
Yeah.
so I mean, they definitely focused a lot on his innie outies, or yeah, the situation, but it was, yeah, again, I think just to show the difference between the innie and outies.
Okay. All right. I'm not. I think I'm whatever.
Well, do you think that we'll see that storyline again at all, or do you think we'll
I
see?
I don't know. I was thinking like, oh, I don't want to jump ahead to the episode, but like when he comes back and helps Helly kind of like solidifies that he is staying and like he's doing what Audi Dylan asked of him, right? Like hoping he
Mhm.
stays. So he is staying and I guess is gonna be a team player again. I don't know, but he was that in the beginning anyway. The
Mm-hmm.
confusion came when Milchick brought the Audi life into the any world. So again, I'm just like, okay, so we just had a whole season of a separate Dylan storyline for jokes, I guess. Cool. All right. I mean, acted beautifully, but could have done without it. I don't know.
There, yeah, I felt like there were some storylines that were added in or like bits that were not necessary. And
Yeah.
I have there's a couple more that I will bring up at least by the
Okay.
end.
Okay.
So we have Mark. He's almost done with Cold Harbor. This is when Mark and Helly have their little I said it's childlike banter because Helly's like, I'm trying to think of anywhere else, and all I can think is of Delaware. What did she say?
Zimbabwe.
Yeah, and the
Okay.
equator.
Yeah.
And she's like, I wish we had more time. Did you have something to
Yeah.
say about that? Like whole
Yeah, the equator. I am not this smart. I just saw someone mention it that the equator is like a line where like the two hemispheres meet, right?
mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Your look was okay. So then someone was like, that's kind of like when she says we'll meet at the equator, they say they'll meet at the equator. It's like the innie and outie of them meeting.
Oh, yeah. That is a good little kind of, I think, not coincidence, but kind of a neat little,
Thing that, yeah,
yeah, that they added in.
underlying meaning, yeah,
Hmm.
which I thought I could see it happening if it's true, but again, putting a lot into words, yeah.
That probably mean nothing. I thought you were about to explain to me what the equator was, and I was like, yes, that is what the equator is.
Oh, okay, that's what
It's
that
an
look was. I
invisible
was like,
line.
why did you look
Yeah.
like that? I was just confirming that's what it was.
Uh, and then Helly pulls out the directions to the export hall and passes it to Mark as he refines the last numbers. And she says, at least they're happy ones. And they hold hands as they click the button. And I hated that. It was so unnecessary. Like I didn't mind her like coming up to him. And I don't, but the hand holding together, well,
I
I just
agree.
personally I didn't.
I know, especially when there another woman is involved. Like, you know what I mean? Like this, and they both knew it had to do with Gemma. So I was like, it's a lot for me right now.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess if I remember back to when I was a teenager, I mean, you do just gross, weird stuff like that all the time.
100%.
Like I didn't like it. It's kind. Did you ever watch Pen 15?
Yes, yes.
I loved the principle of that show. I loved the jokes. I had a very very hard time watching these adult women do teenage things. I
Yes.
maybe it was making me cringe about my past self. I don't know, but
It was like triggering in a way that you did not like or expect or
maybe. But again, it was just it's like adults acting like children.
yeah,
Even though they're acting and it's a TV show, it's still I don't like
puts
it.
you off.
I don't like
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
fair.
Yeah. So they finish it, and then um, the lights go out in MDR, and I wrote that the '90s basketball theme starts playing. Fog machine turns on, and lights shine on the Cure Wax figure. Did you recognize that song that was playing?
No, I did not.
You didn't?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No.
So in the '90s, whenever it was people were called it. I saw this online. The Bulls theme song, like
Okay.
the Chicago Bulls.
Yeah.
I just remember anytime I went to any kind of basketball game, that's the music they played to like introduce the home team,
Ah.
and they would like run out and they like yell the names.
Yeah.
It was
I did.
it was everywhere.
Okay. I didn't know it was basketball specific. I knew it was like a sports intro thing. But yeah.
I don't know technically if it's basketball specific. That's what I associated with. That's what I
Yeah.
heard all the time. I
Yeah.
did look up the song though, because again, people were calling it the Bulls name, and I was like, but it's specifically written for them? It
Yeah.
was not. It's called Sirius by the Alan Parsons Project.
Hmm.
So just a fun fact. Throwing
And
that in
then
there.
did Google say if it was used by everybody or specifically for the Bulls? You
I
don't
did
know.
see that it was used specifically by the Bulls, but I also know
You
that
heard of it.
yes,
Yeah,
other
I get that.
places.
Yeah. Okay. Very cool. Yeah, no, I didn't get into basketball till we moved to America, so did not have that experience.
I wonder. I feel like they still play it sometimes.
I've heard it. I feel like I've heard it in TV shows. Like, the sound,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Yeah, and now we know what the song title is and who wrote it. So when we're on Jeopardy, we will know that answer.
Yes.
Then the wax cure figure tells them how important this moment is, and then welcomes Mr. Milchek in. Ugh. And then I did write down their conversation more um, specifically, like actually what they said, but
Yeah.
there was a lot going on. So I just kind of summarized it as Kier and Milchek have this terrible who's on first bit that ends with Kier once again insulting Milchek for his use of big words and then calls him Seth.
Yes. Yes. And it was like, because like Milchik had kind of looked like a script. He was holding something and was like looking at it. So I was like, whose stand-up routine is this? Is it Milchik's or is it Kier's? Or did they co-write it? Or it was very confusing. And it obviously went off the rails.
Yeah, and I was like, how's Kier talking? Like, because if it was pre-recorded, but then it felt like the lines changed.
Yeah. I don't know. And then people were guessing that it was either Dr. Drummond or Maurer, or
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Drummond or Dr. Maurer, but I don't know.
I was wondering if it was somebody else,
Yeah, that would.
but
It's definitely not Kier, but
no. Well,
yeah.
well, well.
Ay, ay, ay.
Also during this scene, Mr. Milchek is not loving what's going on, which is
Yeah.
fair, because at every chance they just belittle him, and he's,
Yes.
has he done the best job managing the severed floor? No, but is he trying and working very hard? Yes.
Yes, he is, and he didn't start off with the job. He gained, what's it called? He like took over. So,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a mess when he took over. So,
Yeah, because Miss Cobell wasn't doing any better.
yes.
So I thought in this moment, we keep this whole season getting these looks on his face after he experiences these things as if he's slowly changing. I
Mm-hmm.
thought, like, this is finally it. This is the straw that broke the camel's back. He's had enough. He's like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to be insulted by a wax figure.
Yeah.
Now let's
In
talk
front
about
of
what
my
happened.
employee, like in front of my, yeah, that's insane.
But we'll see how he acts later in the episode.
Response.
So then we have Mr. Milchek. He introduced choreography and merriment, which is a full ass marching band that he leads. And I loved this so much.
I loved it too. Someone tweeted, what HBCU did he go to? And honestly, that's exactly what I had in mind too. I was like, what the hell? I don't know I need to see who wrote this episode. I know Ben directed it. He might have wrote it too. But yeah, it was just so what are Dan and Ben watching, and why you don't expect the creators of the show to include this in the show. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because it was very well, especially the whole marching band. It was I'm pretty sure, yeah, the last episode of season 1. That's where we get the Defiant Jazz, the dance experience.
Yes.
And so this is very reminiscent of that.
Yes.
But it's like 1,000 step up. And if we're thinking about Mr. Milchek, again, he loves theatrics.
Yes.
So to me, it feels like the pizza party that employers give employees, and they're like, can we just not get $50 instead, please?
Yes, agreed. Yeah, insane. And who knew that Lumen kept a whole band down there?
Yeah, like it was so absurd. I loved it though. And apparently Tillman was in a marching band, like in high school, I guess.
I can see that. I can definitely see that. It's amazing.
Because he's like leading the band. He's doing the whole like
Yes.
stuff. And I know you can act that, but he's like in it.
Yes, it looked very natural,
Mm-hmm.
just very well done. I
Mm-hmm.
loved it.
Oh yeah. Yes. So then I just included this because it connects to another scene slightly. James gets out of an elevator directly into this tiny room that has a computer, and this is where he's going to watch Gemma during her last test now that
Yeah.
the Cold Harbor file is completed.
Mm-hmm.
And then while we get more of Mr. Milchick's top tier dancing, Mark tells Helly that he needs to go. And this
Yeah.
dancing, who did the choreography for this?
I really think he did. I really
I
think
think
he
so too.
choreographed himself. Yeah.
I think this whole season we've already said this a million times, but after that scene, give him all the awards.
Please. All of us need to, I don't even know, throw bananas at our screens if he loses just one during reward season. Like, he does not deserve to lose anything. It's
Mm-mm.
a full on sweep. And I don't think there has been that much of a, like, it should be a full on sweep, breaking like records kind of sweep. You know what I mean? Like, for the
Mm-hmm.
first
Mm-hmm.
time ever, this actor has swept up all. Yes, that's what I need
Yeah.
to see.
Yes. Yeah, it was just so good. I can't say anything more about it.
Mm.
Oh yeah, okay. So before they go their separate ways, Helly tells Mark, "See you at the equator." It's kind of like that. Here's looking at you, kid, or we'll always have Paris kind of line. And he
Or
responds,
my innie, your innie, your our outie, outie equator.
mm-hmm,
I'll leave that
mm-hmm.
there.
Well, and so he says the same thing to her, but he does kind of respond in an odd way, and he definitely was confused. And I can't tell if he was confused, like because we know what happens at the end. Like, is he connecting that at that moment, or is he just confused because he doesn't know what she's about to do because she
Yeah.
goes on to distract Milchick.
Yeah. I think he's just confused.
Mark does seem to be confused in general a lot.
Yeah.
That's probably
Oh,
it.
poor dumb baby.
And so to distract Mr. Milchick long enough for Mark to leave, Helly grabs his walkie-talkie, throws it in the toilet, and then locks him in the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Oh, yeah.
um, let's see. We have Mark. He runs off. Dylan heads to the MDR office, and Mr. Drummond goes up to the severed floor and then punches open a door right in front of the exports hall. So apparently, there's all these hidden rooms.
Apparently.
And I think it was in the first or second episode is when Mr. Milchick opens that secret room, like in his office, the back
Behind.
room.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
think that's why they did that, is to make that part make sense, or kind of like
Like,
maybe,
there's
I don't
secret
know,
rooms within secret rooms within secret rooms. Sure. Let's go with that.
that there's stuff that we haven't seen yet, or that's
Okay.
still hidden,
Yeah. Okay.
as if that wasn't obvious.
I hate them so much. Okay.
Gemma, she finally arrives at Cold Harbor. Before she starts the test, though, or the last room, the goat lady, I did not remember her name. I had to look it up. It's Lauren.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't remember either.
She is pushing a baby goat down the hall, and this episode redeemed her character for me.
Yeah,
Because
100%.
her first time around, I was just like, what's going on with this character? Okay.
Yeah. Is she very lumen? Is she independent of thought? Is she what even is the mammalian, whatever part she's in, still, but sure, yeah.
Mr. Milchick does get the bathroom door open to get out, but then Dylan runs in and he pushes the vending machine to block the bathroom doorway.
Yes, and this is when we see Dylan's back.
Yeah, so he's decided to stay, at least for this moment. and helps Helly. And like you said, being a team player.
Yeah. I think he's staying for good.
But what is for good? I don't.
God, I don't have to think about that for hopefully another year. They should take the 2.5 year break again. That's what we need. No shade. All the shade. Fuck, I hate them so much. Sorry. Keep going.
So we get into Jimin finally enters the cold harbor room, and what we see is the baby crib and the screwdriver.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there could have been more going on in that room. Not because it is not sad and heartbreaking. It very much is. I'm not trying to like downplay the like impact of that, what she experienced and why they would choose that. But
Yes.
all the other rooms were so elaborate, so intense
Yeah.
that I felt like they would have been added something else to spark some memories or.
Yeah, but I do think like less is more. I feel like like the distraction, like just having the crib, the screwdriver, it's so specific. They're such specific items. I feel like anything else to add color to that memory might have, I don't know, been too easy or something. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they were trying to get to that. Yeah. In a weird way. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, she just sees, I think she just sees it in the room, and we go back to the goat lady, and she arrives to the room that Mr. Drummond goes in, and says that the goat is an offering, which is something that we kind of toyed around with that idea when we first saw the goat lady. It was like, what do the goats mean?
Yeah. What a cute fucking goat, by the way. In terms of like goats, what a cute goat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very adorable.
I asked you, how'd you feel about goats?
Yeah, you did. But you know what? Baby goats are different. Baby anything is different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I agree.
But I think Holly, they did a great job with casting this goat. Well done.
Yeah. I didn't even think about somebody having to like pick out a specific goat.
You know they
and
did.
They probably gave it a little bath and like
groomed it all up, ready for camera.
Mm-hmm.
So cute.
So Mr. Drummond asked if the goat has verve and wiles. And so I looked up these words.
Thank you, because I did not.
Verve can refer to the 90s rock band or vigor and spirit. Have you heard of the Verve?
No.
I cannot even, I'll have to look it up really quick. I don't remember the song that they sing that you might recognize, but the only reason I remember who they are is the lead singer has a Instagram page, or they have a Twitter page, a TikTok page for the band, but he's always on there and he's just posting videos of him like crashing people's karaoke and singing their songs as if people are supposed to know who he is.
What?
Yeah.
And it's just any song that he's singing at karaoke, or their specific songs?
I think it's their specific songs, and they're known for that Bittersweet Symphony song.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Damn. Yeah. Okay.
But that's, I see these videos and I'm like, just stop, please. These poor people just want to sing their karaoke. You don't have to. And then wiles means devious or cunning strategies employed in manipulating or persuading someone to do what one wants, which I thought was interesting. Because it feels like Lumen doesn't want their employees to be that way.
Yeah, I agree.
But when James is talking to Helly about how he sees Kier in her, when she kind of lashes out at him, that's when he goes, there he is. So I guess Kier kind of, had a little bit of a verve slyness to him. Yeah. Yeah.
What was verve again?
Vigor and spirit.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So they were saying the goat had this. Okay.
Yeah, and then they said that the goat was going to help lead I guess, Jim's soul to Kier.
Yeah.
And the, and she tells him yes, it has verve and wiles, and then goes to get the cattle gun. He goes to get the cattle gun that he's going to use to
Yeah.
sacrifice this cute baby goat.
Yeah.
Mark then arrives to the export hall, so just across the hall from them, and he can't get in. And so Mr. Drummond hears the commotion. He's like, what the hell's going on out there? And he sees Mark trying to get into
Just
the
before he
hallway.
pulls the trigger, by the way, no goats were harmed in the making of this TV show.
Yes. Good catch. And when he catches Mark, Mark's like trying to like climb up the door, shimmy his way up to the door to like the opening above it.
Yeah.
That was also pretty funny. And he goes, wrong door, and just tries to like walk off.
Yeah.
Which Mr. Drummond has no part of and starts to beat Mark to death, literally.
Yeah. Wow. Mm-hmm.
But the goat lady comes to his rescue right before he's about to die. And Mr. Drummond then starts to attack her, but she can hold her own. She's
Brienne of
takes him down.
Tarth. Fuck you think this
literally.
is?
Yeah.
Yeah. I do worry that she's gonna get typecasted a lot though, but she also seems to enjoy it. So
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I mean, yeah. I ended up loving that character though for her.
Yeah.
Not necessarily just because of that scene, but because it made what happened in the first goat scene make a lot more sense.
Yeah, I agree. And also, just speaking of Gwendolyn, Christine, or Christy, I don't know, but I guess it's not bad signing up for a character that gets to kick a man's ass at the end of show. So I love that for her.
Let's see. So she gets control of Mr. Drummond, and Mark uses Mr. Drummond and the cattle gun to get into the exports hall. And
yes, he takes him hostage.
They get into the elevator to go down. And as we know, Mark switches to Audi Mark on the testing floor, and he accidentally kills/shoots Mr. Drummond with a cattle gun in a very bloody way.
Cinema. This was another moment where I said, oh, yes, this does not belong on the small screen, but we're getting it on the small screen, kind of, cinematic. Yeah, things happening. Loved it. So grateful for it.
The blood was just like spewing out of his artery. It was...
You hated it. Hold on. Oh, you didn't? Okay.
No,
your thing with props. It. Okay.
Oh, yeah. No, it was good. It did remind me of, I think it's the Adam Family's Value, where Wednesday is like putting on the play and she has her arm cut off and it's just like pew, pew.
Yes. I agree.
But like, so I mean in the best way though, because then Mark's just like covered in his blood.
Yeah.
But he stays focused on the mission.
Does. That switch was incredible too. With Adam Scott. Just again, he really kills it.
He does. Also needs all the awards. But
yeah. But
Tillman more.
Yes.
A little bit.
I agree.
Speaking of which, we go back to Mr. Milchek, and he's still struggling to get out as Dylan and Helly hold the vending machine. So what he does is he tells the band to leave, and as they go to leave, Helly stops him and explains that if Mr. Milchek gets out, then they're going to die and that they could be next because you've seen how they treat, your friends that you've made down here. We go back to Mark, and he does find the Cold Harbor room.
Sorry. If we could go back to that Milchek scene, is this the start of that scene? Is this where he goes like Super Saiyan, kicking the vending machine, or did we already pass that scene?
Yeah, it might be.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had a question to ask you. Was that just the dramatics of it all, or because he like takes a moment and he has like a realization of like, I have to do something here or something, and it goes big in his like actions. And for someone who was going through does this company uh, know my worth kind of situation or respect me throughout the whole season. And then for him to have this moment at the end where like that he does think the company's worth fighting for, or is it him that is worth fighting? I just didn't under. It was just a lot, and I wanted to know what your thoughts were on that.
I honestly had the same question, and I wrote it down, but then I didn't type it up because I'm like, I don't know, because he does. He takes a second and he looks at himself in the mirror, and
Yes.
he's like really evaluating himself. He's taking a good hard look, and
Yes.
again, and when I first watched it, I thought that like he's like he switches. I thought he was going to use this, and he does
Yes.
get this like adrenaline rush to get out of the bathroom.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's very clear if he's doing it for Lumen or for himself.
Yeah.
Um, the way that they're painting it, it's for Lumen, but
Yeah.
that doesn't mean that's actually the case.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
yeah.
I think I agree with you, and I also again just think in terms of storyline, taking us through his storyline throughout the whole season to get to this point, and he doesn't side with the innies, or he does look himself in the mirror and like decides to go harder into his role and his job or whatever, and not just like back down and be like, you know what, I'm on your guys' team or side now. Sucked. I hated it. That's all I'll say on that.
Same. I mean, because we both did pretty much. I kept saying like I think he's gonna switch. He's going to like help out the innies at least in some way. I think I just said
Yeah.
at the minimum, like turn a blind eye, and he didn't do that from what we saw. And
Yeah.
I'm equally as frustrated by that. But the only person we know that has really left is Miss Cobell, and
Yeah.
you would think that he would leave way before she would.
Yeah. Like she was not disrespected nearly as much as he
Yeah,
has been. It's been like
yeah.
disrespect after disrespect after disrespect, honestly. So yeah, it's weird that you thought there was this huge character, or we were made to believe there was this huge like character growth and thing happening within him, and it never transpired at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very unfortunate. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. Okay, so yeah, we go back to Mark and finding the Cold Harbor room. He tries to enter by putting his hand on the little handprint thing, and it pricks his finger, but his blood doesn't match. And then coincidentally, he's covered in Mr. Drummond's blood, so he puts up his tie up there instead, and it gets enough blood, and it lets him in.
Yeah.
Which I did think that was a little too on the nose for the show, maybe.
Well, absolutely. According to how they've been this season, you'd think they wouldn't give a shit how he got through that door in terms of continuity or like it making sense. They could have just made anything up for him to get through it, right? Maybe him
Yeah.
smashing it or but for them to make sure he did get Mr. Drummond's blood and then to show it after, it was very just made me think, like I wrote down, oh, so they do care about shit making sense. Cool.
Well, and they made it sense in like such an elementary way that they don't normally do in this show.
Yeah.
It was like one of
Yeah.
the most things that they've pointed out, the most obvious.
Yeah. I
And
agree.
I just
Well, but to be fair, I really think in season 1 too. Like, I don't think we knew the full story, so it wasn't obvious. But I do think they were more like in your face with things making sense or things
and,
happening in the way they were meant to. Does that make sense?
yeah, I get what
In
you're
this
saying.
season.
They were doing so much this season too.
Yeah.
So just I kind of get you kind of have to shorten some aspects of the story because of that. But anyway, he's able to get in because he's got Mr. Drummond's blood all over him.
Yes.
And
The
so
way
he
he,
gets into
sorry,
the
just the
no,
way he
yeah,
like looked at the tie, and then you're right, it was so
yeah,
elementary.
yeah. He's like, And then, so when he gets into the room, he does find Gemma. So he is still outie Mark, but
Yes,
she's severed. This is another iteration of her, Gemma.
yes,
And Dr. Maurer and James see him from their computers, him enter the room. So they're not happy about what they're seeing.
yeah,
Gemma is frightened by Mark, but he explains to her who he is, what's going on. And even though she doesn't seem to recognize him, she does trust him enough, at least, to leave with him.
yes.
Did you find that believable?
I did not actually. I'm so glad you
Okay.
asked. Did you?
Okay. I don't know. No, not really. I thought there would at least be a little bit more resistance.
Agreed. Yeah, because yeah,
Es- Especially because of the way that, like, Helly acted when the first time that her severed self became aware, and Mark was like talking to her and she just freaked out and, like, again, threw the intercom at him and it was being all crazy. And so this is the first time that that version of Gemma has been severed and come to
oh yeah, yeah,
consciousness. And so the fact
and
that
then yes,
the
I
first person
agree.
she sees is a bloody Mark.
Yeah, and she's meant to be trusting of just a random person who
Mm-hmm.
clearly, yeah, I agree. It was,
Which, if we're going with a theory of like love transcends severance, but then we get to the next scene. So Jim and Mark walk through the cold harbor threshold, and
mm-hmm.
she finally recognizes him. And there's tears, and there's hugs, and there are kisses, and then an alarm goes off on the testing floor and the severed floor.
Yes.
So,
Before we go on, though, this
uh
is
huh.
where I do want to say that what that person on Twitter says, because they were so brilliant. I don't know if it was a woman or a man, but said Addie Mark portrays so perfectly his Addie's love for Gemma and his Annie's love for Helly, the comforting love of a marriage versus the innocence and astonishment of first love. And this scene really like showed that they were married, and even with all the shit that came from their marriage, they still like they're each other's person
Mm-hmm.
that they chose. You know what I mean? Yeah, it was
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. I loved the scene so much.
Yeah, that is one thing that definitely I think this season showed us was the love that Mark and Gemma had for each other.
Yeah.
Their ups and downs, but the structure of their relationship, how they supported each other,
Yeah.
and in contrast, Mark's relationship with Helly as well.
Yeah.
It was, very not surface level, but yeah, they're just getting to know each other. This is a
It's
first love
new.
situation. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
And they even showed Audi Mark's first love interaction with Gemma.
Yeah, in that what's it called? Throwback scene when we first see what's
Mm-hmm.
going on with Zemma. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
agree. Yeah, it's true. It was a
So,
way better. I know there's a whole like, Mark and Helly and Mark and Gemma thing, but their meet cute was so much better and their chemistry is so much better in
mm-hmm.
my eyes.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Which that that's
Yeah.
we'll get to at the end.
Yeah.
So the alarm goes off, testing floor and severed floor. So Helly and Dylan and Mr. Milchek well, I guess actually this is when Milchek looks at himself in the mirror because the alarm's going off when he does it. So, but they all
Mm.
know, okay, Mark's down on the testing floor, like something's
Yes.
going on. And so
Yes.
Mark and Gemma run to the elevator, and right as they reach it, Dr. Maurer yells to them, "You'll kill them all."
Yeah.
And I don't know who he's referring to.
I just thought all her 24 innies.
That's what I think too when I thought about a little harder. I was wondering if maybe he also is referring to, or not also, but instead referring to all the innies. So
Yeah.
like Dylan, Innie, Mark, Innie, Helly, all those,
Yeah.
the
That would be
marching band.
the mammalians,
Uh
mammalians,
huh.
whatever.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
of them. That would be insane. That would be too big.
I know, but like what they've gotten what they needed. So why would they keep these people around?
Have they gotten what they needed? Because
They
they didn't.
want, well, not now. I'm just saying
Yeah,
though, like they've got Cold Harbor finished. She did take apart the crib without having any kind of emotional reaction.
yeah. Was she finished when he got into the crib? I mean, into that room, or I feel like she was still halfway into it. Well, halfway,
Yeah,
but
I
she's
don't think
still
she was
working
like,
on it.
yeah, I don't think she was finished. So I don't think that they
Yeah,
got, I'm sure they were
all
supposed to
that.
collect extra data to
Yeah,
present, and they probably didn't get that part. But
yeah. I yeah, I think it was just her innies, and I think he cared. Dr. Maurer cared because obviously he was like in love with her innies,
and doing some
right?
funny
So
business.
God, the imagery I got was so sick. Yeah. uh, so that's what I got from it. Like, you'll kill all my loves kind of situation, you know what I mean? Or
Mm-hmm.
that situation.
Yeah,
All the innies would be, God, that would be insane.
I kept getting that vibe. Again, I think you're right by what he said, but again, when he said it, when I watched it the first time, I thought it was the Ennies because of what Miss Cobell said in the birthing cabin. She,
Okay.
she tells, I think she says verbatim, like to Mark, that they'll die as soon as, like, because he says she'll die if he finishes Cold Harbor, referring to Gemma, and I think she
Oh,
says that
yeah.
about any Mark as well,
Yeah.
and like all of them, because they'll have no value to Lumen anymore. They're just using
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
So that's where
Oof.
that visual or idea came from, at least
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah, I could see that. I could. It would just be very rogue from Dan and Ben and writers to do that. I'm sure it wouldn't happen. Maybe
Yeah.
it would for fucking 3 episodes or something. I don't know. And then they,
Hmm. And then they magically come back.
yeah. But yeah, that would be insane. I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe we'll find out.
And then it would make the endings just way more annoying too.
Like the
But
series ending or this season.
the season ending of
Okay.
them, yeah, I would. That would piss me off actually.
Are you not already?
Holding it together. I'm holding it together.
So Morgan and Gemma are in the elevator. They're going up to the severed floor. They're kissing and, happy to see each other. But
Reuniting.
yeah, but then they switch, right? So now have Annie Mark and Miss Casey, and they're still kissing in the elevator once they get there, and they're like,
Yeah.
what's going on?
So funny.
It
Love
was
it.
it was a cute little scene too.
It was. It was like innocent. It was like, oh, what?
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which
and
again, does love transcend severance? If even, sorry.
we're gonna get there. Got
Okay.
two more things that happen really. So he leads them out of the experts hall and runs for the exit stairwell. So he's like trying to get her to exit stairwell. That's the whole plan.
Yes.
Um, and once he gets her there, Annie Mark gets her outside, but he does not go with her. And we get about
Mhm.
5 minutes. I swear it felt like 5 minutes of Gemma just on the outside, outie
Yes.
Gemma
Yes.
banging on the door,
Yes.
yelling for Mark, come here,
Yeah.
like, come. And he's staring at her and he's staring at her. And then Helly comes up and says, Mark. And
Does she
Mark
say something?
decides, yeah,
Or does he just
she
turn up?
calls,
Oh,
no, she
okay.
says his name. And so
Okay.
he turns around and decides Gemma, I, I'm more on your side too about getting revenge for Gemma, because in the scene, she's watching her husband
Yeah.
walk away, like to not choose her.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I think she does know that maybe it's like not
A
Mark,
different mark. Yes.
but still, she's still visually seeing her husband
Yes.
leave her for
Yes.
some skank that she doesn't know.
Yes. Um Also, Deshen, as you said, like 5 minutes of like the banging on the door, the begging, the pleading, like, and you felt every emotion in that entire scene, and she did not stop. And I just think, give her the Emmy too.
Mm-hmm. Well, and
Incredible.
because it was in such contrast to when they were in the exports hall, and Miss Casey comes to, and she's
Yes.
so like rigid and is like talking to Mark. She's like, Marquess, what's going on? And then we get
Yes.
this very emotional response when she's on the other
Yeah.
side.
Yeah.
So then
God.
we get Helly and Mark. They hold hands and run off to the sunset, and that is the end of the season.
Thank fucking God.
So for the last little imagery, so they are like running down the halls. I The imagery though was beautiful.
Yeah.
The music, the pairing, and I don't think that we've really talked about music in scenes very much,
Mm-mm.
surprisingly at all. And music really just elevates scenes so much.
Agreed. It helps you feel the emotion that the director is wanting you to feel in those
Yeah.
moments. Yeah.
I
I love it
I
so
think
much.
that that's what's so great about film and TV is that it's not only visual, but you also get
Yeah.
music and you get dialogue. Like there's so much to
Yeah. In
consume
it.
that
Yes.
helps paint a beautiful picture.
Yeah. Agreed. And that's why all these departments do get awarded, in these award shows, because they all contribute to this bigger picture, and they should
Mm-hmm.
be recognized. But yeah, the
Yeah.
editing, the sound, the score, that all of it, so good. And this episode specifically had a lot of it too. I
Yes.
think
Yeah.
some episodes didn't need it, but this one did.
Well, so that's that.
Where do you want to go from here?
Let's see. I have one, two, three, four. I have like 5 to 7 things
Okay.
that I wrote down.
Okay. Your This is your
Do you
lead,
have any?
so
Do you have some too?
I do. Yeah, I do, but I feel like they'll probably be similar to yours. So
They'll probably be a little overlap.
yeah.
I'll start and
Yeah,
then
you lead.
we can go. Okay. First and foremost, because I think this is what was bouncing around my head the most this season, this episode, Helly or Helena? What do you like? What do you think? How do you feel?
You know, I don't know. Because even during this episode, I was like, damn, this is Helly. And damn, this is Helena. Damn. And I just hate it so much because this whole thing started when Helly was the one, I mean, Helena was the one that came down to the MDR floor in episode 2 or 1. I don't know, the any episode. And for me, because I kept saying, like, I love the show so much because it trusts its audience to like get it. It trusts that its audience is smart. It it's not that serious. It doesn't try to confuse you in a like what show is probably like maybe Lost was a very like it got silly. Maybe I don't know. Didn't really finish
Mm-hmm.
watching a lot, but like it didn't get silly to the point where now you're like left wondering, is this real? Is this not? Is this real? Is this not? And they really fucking did that to us, and I hate it. So I hate it. I don't know who is who, and I don't even know if that's the whole point. I really I don't. I don't know. What about you? I'm just
I I mean I agree. I don't know. I had the same question throughout the whole entire season. I don't like that question, and I'm going to walk away from it thinking, like I said, that that's kind of the whole point because I don't think that they're trying to confuse us. I think it is
no.
face value. That I think that that's the point. I think
But
we're
when we
questioning what's the difference between the innies and the outies.
but when we got introduced to Helena being Helly, that wasn't face value. They could have given us a wink to the audience. They could have given us like a side scene with Helena being
But
Helly. You know what I mean? Like being like, you guys are in on it, but still like Irving, Dylan, and Mark aren't. They could have given us something
I
very
think though
clearly.
that I think that we weren't supposed to be questioning it. So I think that that's the internet's fault. Okay. I think they were underestimating the internet's fault on spitting out these dumb theories. And so I think, though, we weren't supposed to question it until it is revealed to us that she's different. And then we're then supposed to be like, damn, we couldn't tell the difference. Mark couldn't tell the difference.
Mm-hmm.
What are we missing? Like, how, are these really separate people? That's what
Mm-hmm.
we're supposed to be questioning the whole entire time. I think this whole season is really making us question any versus outies. Are they that different? How different are they?
Yeah.
I think that's the
Yeah.
whole point.
Yeah, I agree with that if you take into account like Dylan's storyline too, because that was random, but you can say that it was to include that difference of the two innie and outies. Okay. Okay.
I think that all these people online who are looking too hard into it, I think,
Mm-hmm.
yes, I think there are little hints. There's little things that you can gather. I think that there's references to Greek mythology and that Twilight
Yeah.
Zone, and you can pull
Yes.
from that. And if you have the reference and that knowledge, and you're like, oh, hey, cool, fun fact.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think the storyline, I think the character development, I think all of that is not as complicated as they're making it be.
Okay. So what you're saying is where I fucked up or we fucked up is we should have just muted Severance from the go in the start of the season and
Yeah.
not got any outside influence because that probably would have changed how we watched the show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because as you're saying, like season one, it wasn't that big, so nobody else was talking about it the way it has, and people were so fucking insane this season, like
Yes.
like touch grass insane, you know?
Which I saw some tweet. I really probably am going to mute it after this. I should have
Yeah,
muted it before, but some person on Twitter that was like, the problem with Severance this season is too many people are watching it and they're not like can't understand media and like more or less saying that people are dumb. And people are dumb. The
yeah,
population is huge, but for me, the whole point of like TV, movies, books, media, entertainment is that
yeah,
anybody can consume them. They are made for everybody. And so we
yeah,
don't need to be calling people stupid for not
yeah,
understanding or being too dumb to watch a TV show. Okay, what if they don't understand it? If they're still enjoying it, let them enjoy
right,
it.
yeah,
We,
that's
we need to
true.
stop shaming people. Well, we need to start
I
shaming more people more
Thank
and
you.
then
Okay, thank you, thank you,
some
thank you.
people less.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, I mean, in terms of like media consumption or like a good TV show, a good art, that you should not shame somebody from wanting to tune into that because also that is how you grow and learn to appreciate the art or understand the art better, right? Like you aren't gonna understand good shit if you aren't consuming good shit.
Or just in general what's being consumed because not everybody's going to like what you like, or
Yeah,
maybe you can be like, I'm not going to be basic. I don't listen to Taylor Swift. I'm not going to listen to Chapel Rowan and blah, 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 because they're on the
yeah,
radio and they're like really popular. But first of all, it is good music that's written by
yeah,
very talented people. It's well produced.
yeah,
So maybe you don't like it, but don't shame people for listening to it because you are too lazy or we're not going to spend the time doing it. And
yeah.
two, if any, like you are the one that's missing out because you're not educating yourself more about what other people are,
This other thing.
yeah,
Yeah,
consuming.
I get that. I get that.
And so I think, I don't know, people are just,
Dumb. No.
yeah.
I agree. Also, amazing. I don't think Chelsea's ever been this passionate about people, I don't even know, being annoying or whatever,
I
or
know
belittling or shaming.
it is hard. And we kind of talked about this before we started the whole podcast, is that obviously we have our opinions,
Yes.
this is all our perspective, and it's
Yeah.
really not to I never wanted to make what I was saying to make anybody else feel bad. I don't want to shame
No.
anybody based on like, yes, we've given Britt a hard time about the Helly Helena and her acting,
Yeah.
but like
Yeah.
she did a great job.
No,
I'm
she did.
never I don't want to comment on people's appearance, and
No.
it's not about belittling people, and that's because
Yeah.
there's so much negativity already. That's not, we need
I
to be more
agree.
positive about
I
certain
agree.
things.
I agree. And to that
I
point of Brit, acting wise, she's freaking brilliant. Like even her saying to Jane, like, what'd you say? Like you're so fucking weird. That delivery was so fucking good. You know, like it's not her acting ability that we're questioning. It's literally hell, she's doing her job because we are confused as fuck. Who is
Yeah.
who?
Yes. Yeah, and I just there's so much negativity already online. I just never want to be a voice of that negativity to
Yeah.
perpetrate it. There's just no
Yeah.
need for it. Somebody else will do it.
Yeah.
That's their
I
job,
agree.
I guess, not mine.
Okay.
All right. What is one of your things that you have to say about this
Mm,
episode, this season? Just what are your grievances?
okay. Would I guess it adds to yours like in the wait, but did you answer your own question? Like at the end, was that Helly or Helena?
No, I didn't.
You know.
I don't know, and I think
Okay.
that's the point.
That's the point.
That's my
Okay.
answer is that's the point.
Okay, got you. Then I guess I wrote down would Helly make Mark stay in that?
I don't. Um, no, I don't think so. Especially based on what she was saying earlier. They had that conversation. She's like, "You need to go because you'll have a chance to live, and
Yeah.
we're screwed either way. So like, you should leave."
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Yeah. Mine are just straight and simple questions. I don't know.
Well, so then Where are they going?
Someone said to the fucking goat farm or to
Go to their plastic tent that they made.
yeah. Um I don't know. I don't know where they're running to. I but it does leave for a very open season 3. Like I think
Mm-hmm.
a lot can happen in season 3 and
Yeah,
that's fun.
and I think the ending too was a nice, if you're thinking like cinematically and story wise, that was a nice way to round out the season.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, it was.
Despite our other feelings, but like I when the episode ended, I did not feel frustrated by.
Yeah.
I still have my opinions. I still feel like certain things were unclear, X, Y, and Z, but
Yeah.
I was not mad at the
Yeah.
end.
I agree with you. I agree. I think it was a great I thought it was a great episode. I think we had the serious moments of like the marks with the camcorder. It was great. You were fulfilled in terms of like watching something just really fucking cool on TV. Like things were happening. But then when you sit down after it, like after a while, and you are somebody who has been doing recaps of the show for the past 10 weeks, so you have notes on your notes app, you then go back and look through them, being like, yeah, that wasn't answered. That was left open ended. That wasn't, those were it. But in terms of the whole, like as a casual viewer, I think you're fine.
What were we said that we needed answers for certain things? What were yours?
I feel like Irving was one of them. Well,
Yeah,
no.
I don't.
Yeah.
I think mine was I wanted to know who was standing behind Mark on the very first episode, and guess
Yes.
what? We didn't learn. We did not learn who that was. So
We did not. We did not learn that. What did I say?
I
I
meant to go
can't
back and
remember.
listen to it again so I could bring them up, but I forgot to. I
Yeah, I
kind of ran out of
forgot.
time, but
But also, I feel like if they were answered, I would have remembered. So they were probably not answered. Whatever question I had was not.
yeah, I
No.
don't think it was.
Mm-mm.
So again, yeah, no Irv. That's one I wrote down. Just put no Irv question mark. Do you
Yes.
think
Where did I put that?
like he's not gone forever, right? He could be though. The way that they just sent him off.
Yes, with that. At first, I thought the smile was like mischievous, but maybe it was really just him at peace leaving the whole situation. You
Yeah,
know?
and
So
you
I
know
really
what?
don't know. Mm.
He's going on his extended voyage, just like Mr. Milchek said.
Yeah, true. But they just added so much of like him into the plot this season in terms of like the discovery of it all. And even in the beginning of this episode with Miss Cobell finding out that Irving already knew about the whole export hole, and then she was like, Irving, didn't she like react to that? Like, hold on, what does he know? Or, it was kind of, she was surprised.
Mm-hmm.
And I just,
Well,
I thought that reveal would have been so good for us to have, honestly.
What Irving knew.
Yeah. Yes. Or who he was talking to in that phone booth.
That yeah, it
Maybe
was little things
I
like
think that was one of my
that.
questions. Or
Yeah.
when I
Oh
was
yeah.
reading it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Things like that. And what I wrote down as an example of something, I just feel like there are storylines or facts that were included that we didn't get answers to, so I don't understand why they included them. Which was Miss Cobell inventing Severance. Like that was not brought up again at all.
No.
And that we had a whole episode about Miss Cobell. We did, I think a lot more of it was her backstory
Yeah.
because that's what most of the episode was focused on. And then we get this big reveal, and then it has no effect on the rest of the season on how
No.
they're going to get Gemma out. Like,
No.
she
Uh,
can't do a Dr. Ragabi and make some equipment to like tape to his head or something. I don't.
True. Right. She's this genius who invented the whole. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I agree with you. I wrote inconsistent plot points, unnecessary plot points,
Mm-hmm.
like thingies in the plot point. Yeah. It was just
I'm
weird.
sure that well, no. No, I was going to say, I'm sure that in season 3, they'll answer those questions. But perfect example, season 1 ended with a waffle party, which made no sense, and all the dancers and stuff, which again made no sense. And we got
None.
no answers about
None.
why it's so creepy. I mean, we know that they're the four tempers. That's what they're, but why are they sexy? Why are they dancing around for Dylan? Like, what was he supposed to
Yeah.
do? I don't know.
Yeah. I agree with you. And then also, I know Petey's dead, but like he is the first one to do well, he is the person who told Mark about reintegration, right? And all that stuff. And does season 2, you might as like Petey did not exist completely. Like if
Yeah.
you were watching the show as Chelsea does from season 2, you would not know Mark's best friend, any Mark's best friend was called Petey and he died. You know what I mean? Like
And he carried like most of season 1, even though he died.
yes.
Like, he was a huge plot point, and like is the
Yes.
whole. It's really the kind of the whole reason all of this started.
Exactly. So I mean, I don't know. I am not I even to your point with season 2, I'm like, okay, maybe this is a bridge season for season 3, but I can't even trust that, and I'm not even going to trust that, and I don't want to. My hope has been there's no hope. Do what you got to do, and I'll just take it as it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Are exactly how I feel, and that's this season has made me feel that way.
yeah. Which for you is that a good thing or a bad thing? Like, are you disappointed? Not with like the cinematic of it, like great everything, acting, directing, still a great story, but like the continuity, the unnecessary, like, are you disappointed?
Episode by episode, yes. Again, after watching the whole season and with the ending, I feel satisfied. I don't.
Mhm.
There's still answers. There's still questions I have. Like, I want more, and I am hoping that we'll get it. But I am trusting that the whole story will reveal itself altogether.
Okay. I am, yeah. Okay.
I think that the series will end, and there will still will be unanswered questions.
Really?
Yeah,
Fuck, that's annoying. That's so
yeah.
bad. I hate that. I might stop watching. Yeah. I don't know. I did it for Game of Thrones. I could tell it was getting silly and it was not making sense anymore. And it was when the books stopped. So they had no
Hmm.
source material. And I said, you know what? I'm tapping out. And then I tuned in for like the last 3 episodes of the last season because I just can't. Yeah. So I hope we do get some answers, but I don't know.
I don't think they're gonna fumble this like Game of Thrones.
Really?
I don't think it's not that bad.
Okay. I'm willing to make a prediction. Ooh. Ooh. It's a pretty bad prediction. I don't like what I'm about to say, but I was gonna say I think they will. Yeah,
Mm-mm-mm.
I
We have
know.
little faith.
I know. I know. Okay, I got a question to ask you. In terms
Mhm.
of season 2, yes, you did say like in I guess you've answered it. Maybe I'm
No, I
just
mean,
not
ask it again.
satisfied
Yeah.
with it. Okay. I was gonna say, okay, so season 1, the so in shows, like every season there's like a problem and then they solve it by the end, but like the bigger issue of the show is not solved. Does that make sense? Like they make the small
Hmm.
problem, whatever. So like season 1, maybe the problem was like Petey's integration and him like trying to stay alive, or and Mark trying to get into, I don't know, something there, or him like getting to Mark. And then the whole thing was like the reveal at the end. And we found out
Hmm.
the show was about Mark Mark and Gemma, basically. Like his wife is in there, so this show is about Mark and
Getting
Gemma.
Jim out more.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then season 2, I guess my question is like, what do you think the story was? Like, what do you think the story was there? What was the what was the problem and what was the resolve?
Oh, I think the problem for season 2 was to get Gemma out,
Okay.
and
Okay.
they did. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I
That's
think
fair.
the I think the themes that
Yeah.
were within the characters were the innie versus outie and like adult versus child,
Yeah.
that kind of development. And and like the human non-human kind of discussion. I
Yeah.
think those
I
were like the themes.
Okay. And then the what was it, what did you say with the Gemma, getting Gemma out?
I think that was the
That,
problem. Like, that was what they're
right.
trying to do the whole season.
Okay. And yeah, with him getting reintegrated and all that shit. Okay. Okay. I will allow it. I just think they it was it was done so easily, really. I mean, it doesn't maybe seem that way because we're at the end and I'm just like, whatever, belittling the situation. But if we take away the Miss Cobell episode, the Orpo, the all these filler, not filler, but all these other outside episodes, right? And we go with Mark reintegrating, then we have the Gemma, their outside story of how Gemma got to be inside there, and then we see her going through different any experiences. And then this final episode, I feel like we got the resolve really in 4 episodes out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
And I just think, going back to why I think they might fumble the bag, I just think they could have written it better.
Yes, especially because the flow of the season was so different than season 1.
Yeah.
I My guess as to why they did it the way that they did it, I have no idea. Okay, and we'll find out in 3 years, I guess, whenever the next season comes out. But
Right.
it was to expand the Severance universe because of all this additional stuff. We have these new questions. We've learned about new characters. We've learned about new aspects, and so in season 3, they can then start delving into those things, or at least gives them the option to go in some different directions with characters.
Okay, so then season 2 is a bridge season, basically.
Probably, yeah.
Okay. How do you feel about that?
Fine. I mean,
Okay.
I wish there were more answers, but here we are.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
I forgot to ask you this before we got into where they were going. How do you feel about Mark's choice at the end?
I wrote, don't think I've hated a character more. And then I wrote, any Mark/Helly. Like I hate them both. They're annoying, they're children, they're stupid, but it's that innocent slip. It's that like Romeo and Juliet shit of like, You know what I mean? So it
Mm-hmm.
makes sense that they made that stupid ass decision. But as adults watching it, you're like, as you said, where are you running to? Like, where are you running to? If you take the elevator, it's not going to be you. If you hide in there, where are the showers in? Like, what are you guys doing? That's the dumbest shit I've ever. Yeah. So I hated it. What about you?
I 100% agree. I originally thought that when, you see Mark hesitating,
Yeah.
because he was, right? He was hesitating. He definitely was like, he told Jimmy, like, you need to leave. If it was like, not we need to, but his first priority was getting her out, which
Yes.
good for any Mark for at least fulfilling.
Sticking to the plan. Yes.
Yes. Now, doesn't really help Outie Mark, but it helps Gemma. So, you know.
Yeah.
And then it does, it seemed like he was weighing his option. He was conflicted on like what to do. I thought it would be just enough time for Helly to run up, and then he gives her one last kiss, and then even then you could like cut the scene. I don't know, like, and then he could go to
End it
Gemma.
there. Yeah.
But the choice for him to like to walk away from Gemma to Helly was heartbreaking and so dumb. And but I once I took a step back because I can't believe he did that. I cannot believe he did that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But if you think about it from any Mark's perspective, he doesn't know Gemma. He's never had feelings for Miss Casey, which again, that then the debate of does love transcend
Mm-hmm.
severance is
Yeah.
I don't know how to answer
It made
that
no
question.
sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
that didn't make sense. If love transcended Severance, he could have felt something for, okay, maybe not Miss Casey, but Gemma, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I also wrote down we did get Outie Mark meeting Helena this season.
Yes, we did get that.
So we did see different versions of them. Like if love transcended Severance, then Outie Mark and Gemma, I mean, and Helena, they were sort of flirting in that diner. That was
They
weird.
100% were flirting. They
They were
were
flirting,
flirting in
right?
their weird way that they flirt. I'll
Yeah.
meet you at the equator. Like, yeah, that's like their weird.
Well, in the diner
Like,
though.
no, yeah, but they had this. He was like, "Oh,
Yeah,
I'm gonna meet your dad
meet your
already."
dad.
Like,
Yeah, true.
they
So
just had
that's
this.
I just think they're doing Gemma so dirty. Like, how can you have everybody else transcend Severance, but not any Mark and Gemma?
Okay,
Go ahead.
so this is where maybe this is just a hypothesis, but I've really
Mm-hmm.
questioned Gemma. Like, where did Gemma even come from? We know that they like met at the school, but like, I don't know. There could be something up with Gemma as a person.
I would only agree to that if she was coming on to him when we saw that they met. He was the one who was enthralled by her. He was the one
Okay.
who
Did
asked
you
her
not
out.
just learn the definition of wiles? She was using her wiles to seduce him.
She was not. She was very calm. She was very like. Heck,
That
in terms, don't you think Helena was way more aggressive in terms of the flirting and the with the Audi Mark. It was definitely Audi Mark pursuing Gemma, not Gemma pursuing Audi Mark. She was doing her own thing. She was fine. She was fine with or without him. I think so. You don't think so?
we don't
Chelsea's giving me
know.
very questioning looks, guys, and I.
I'm just saying we don't know. We don't know that like
Where she came
no, I mean
from.
I do agree with you though because it really does beg the question. I get why he made that choice. I think it was a dumb choice. It made me mad. Um and and we did ask at some point, if any Mark who would Mark choose, Helly or Gemma?
Yeah,
And I think I said that he would choose Gemma just because of the length of their relationship, but
yeah.
Anymore can't think that way, I guess, because he hasn't experienced, he doesn't know Gemma.
The
He
length of
hasn't
his.
spent that time with her. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. Oh, I hate it so much because I mean, yeah, you haven't spent that much time with her, but you also haven't spent. I mean, Addie Mark also didn't spend much time with Helena, and they were flirting, and then also if you add the whole like he was so severely depressed when she died, right? That grief, that like love, and also when you have those moments, we've had those the two moments this season when they do reunite. Two, no, just the one, and then we saw the flashback episode of how they were. It's like such a beautiful love, and you can see how like he really does love her. So I'm like, why does that dissipate when it's any Mark? How does that go away? Do you think we'll get that answer next season? Why his love does not transcend Severance?
Um, I think we'll get some more evidence towards it. I don't know if it'll be a very black and white, like, oh, so you don't love Gemma down there because we inserted a chip that was a little bit different that I don't know,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
because we know that he can feel Gemma because that's the
yeah.
whole point. He's
The
looking through her
tempers.
tempers
Yeah,
and so I don't
exactly.
know.
It's stupid. I hate it. I'm so glad that we're done with it. Again, Ben, Dan, take your time. Don't rush it. Even though maybe do rush it because you had the chance to take your time, and
This
I
is what
don't
you
know what
came
you
up
guys were
with.
doing. Right. I don't know what was being done in that writer's room. Call us.
Will you still tell people to watch the show?
See, and this is why I was like, oh, I love season one. I think that reveal at the end is brilliant. It's incredible. It's so, all of it is great. Season two, I'll tell you to watch it, but I'm not like telling you it's the best thing ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same for you.
Yeah. I mean, I'll still tell people to watch it. And I think, again, I think season 2 was a good season. I didn't like the vibe shift. I didn't like the introduction to all these side plots that we didn't get to. I think it would have been nicer. It would have fit the vibe of season 1 more if it was a more clean cut
Exactly.
storyline.
Yeah, exactly. Even Mr. Drummond, like, okay, we get introduced to him, but we really don't even know what was his fucking job title at the end of the day. Do we know? No, like,
Yeah.
shoot me in the face. I hate this so much. And then also, Miss Huang, I had one more question.
Oh
Miss
yeah.
Huang, I feel like one of us said we'd see her in this final season. Maybe not. In this final episode? Maybe not. Maybe,
We at least asked the question if we thought we would like if we would see her and Dylan and Irving again.
yeah.
And I think we both thought we were going to see Irving for sure. And lo and behold,
100%.
boy, were we wrong.
Man, were we wrong? It hurt my soul. But did you think we'd see Miss Huang again? Like, were you surprised not to see her? Or were you just like, all right, whatever? Like that storyline, I guess, ended there.
I honestly, with what was going on in this
Yeah.
episode, I forgot. I forgot about her.
Okay. All right.
So
Do you think we'll see her next season?
no,
Really?
no, I think she's shipped off and like, yeah.
So her purpose for the season was just like us being like, what is this child doing on the floor? Just for shock value, really, but nothing really came out of it.
It for me what it did, yes, for that, and it was a little bit of comic relief. But we with learning about Miss Cobell and the way that she was raised and how she did like child labor. So essentially she was Miss Wong
Yeah.
when she was that age. And so I think
Yeah.
it was just to show that like Lumen is still doing this to emphasize the cult vibes to that whole I think that was probably the primary
Mm,
reason.
okay. Okay.
Because I think if we just learned that about Miss Cobell and we didn't have an example of it happening now, then it would be like, oh well, they used to do that, but now they have
Mhm.
the severed floor, and that's how they get away with like
Yeah.
doing whatever.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. I mean, I feel like they could have just added it for one episode. I don't think we had to have a whole season of it, but sure. You know what
I
I
mean,
mean?
yeah, her
It was maybe
Thurman
like
playing
a
though. So
iconic. I take nothing away from you, Miss Wong. You did what you had to do. I just, yeah, just a lot of screen time for shit that at the end, I feel like it's safe to say we don't think matters for season three, but I hope it does matter.
I would love nothing more than everything that we're saying here that we're like mad about. I would to be proven wrong next season.
Yes, please
I
prove me wrong.
I would love that. I want to be proven wrong.
Yes, I agree.
I'm just scared that I'm not going to be.
Yeah, but maybe because we've gotten about 95% of things wrong, this is another thing we're getting wrong, and then we will be proven right. You know what I mean? You following?
Yes, I will say though, again, listening back to like some of the stuff, I was like, oh, we were onto something. Some like I think the
In some
core
bits.
of the story. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I saw this YouTube video where it was with, the actor that plays Dylan, Eric Cherry or
Something Cherry.
yeah,
Is
Zach
it Dylan
Cherry.
Cherry? Zach Cherry,
Yeah,
yes.
and somebody else, one of the other actors, and they're like, "What's the wildest theory that you've heard?" And Zach Cherry's dad, Zach Cherry doesn't watch. He doesn't know like the show. He doesn't watch the show. He only reads his own script. Like he has no idea really what's going on.
That's amazing.
But he said that his dad, after
Yeah.
watching the first episode, he is a man who likes to make predictions, just wild predictions. He said that it was aliens 45 minutes into the first episode. So
You're not alone. And Zach Cherry's dad is hilarious and also not alone. And I don't know if I could deal with aliens. That's when I will actually stop watching the show. I'll need you to I'll show up. If we do recaps, I'll show up. But you'll have to carry the whole thing. You'd be so happy. Okay, I would have to show up and participate because I do want that one for you. That would be amazing.
yeah, I don't think I can recap another season of this show.
Oh,
I wonder.
I'm so glad we're talking about it.
Let's see if I have my. Well, okay. I took notes. I rewatched season 1, right? And I had a notebook like this. I filled up watching season 1, and I had and season 2 that I had to get another notebook.
Oh God!
Because of my notes. My hand hurts. My brain hurts.
Yeah.
It did not make me not love the show any less. It definitely made me think about it more critically episode to episode. Yes. I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing, but it hurt my brain to rewatch every episode 2 to 3 times and like take notes and think about it and throw in everybody's else stupid theories.
I agree. It was torture. It was self-inflicted. I apologize because I am the one who suggested it. I am very, very sorry. And you can pick the next 3.
I think it was a nice challenge. I think that it was good for us. I think I'm not mad that we did it. I just don't want to do it again.
Yeah, I agree. It was a good first one though. There was a lot to talk about. It gave us a lot.
Yeah. At least which we did originally want these episodes to be 30 minutes. So here we are. Almost 2 hours later.
But it's the last one, you guys, so it
is. And then, so have we decided, are we going to do hacks next?
Yes. Okay. We're telling the people.
Yeah. So our next show that we're going to recap is Hacks, which that starts April 10th.
Yay.
So we'll have a couple weeks off.
So like 2
with
weeks.
The recaps.
Okay.
2 or 3 weeks. I don't know. Let's see what day that is.
1, 2. Yeah. Well, 1 because we're still on the start of this week. It's a Thursday.
Oh, okay. Okay. That kind of works out.
Yeah.
Well, I think yeah, I'm excited about that. I think that will be a lighter show. That show's so good, and I think there'll be a lot to say about it, but
yes.
I don't think there's as much theory going on with that show.
No, I don't think aliens are involved or could be a possibility.
I think they'll talk about aliens.
100%. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm for that, but I don't think aliens will pop up anywhere. Hopefully, God, hopefully not. Or
Yeah.
innies and outies, and hopefully I feel like it'll be heavy, but hopefully not too heavy.
I think that the seasons keep getting heavier and heavier,
Yeah.
and so I'm sure this one will. And because the way that the last season ended, it was already very emotionally tense
Yes.
scene, and
Agree.
we know we're picking back up there, so
Yeah.
off to the races.
They're half hours, right? Or are they a full
Ye-
hour?
I think they're half hour, but I'm just saying that. I have a 50-50 chance of it being
Okay,
right.
they're a half hour, which
Okay.
okay, thank God. Yeah. Even if we have that, even if it's heavy, we have a shorter runtime of things to review. So that's gonna be great.
And I'm not walking scene by scene
No.
either.
No, I don't think that show requires that. I don't think we're missing out on anything.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Any other final thoughts?
No, I hate Helly
Okay.
or
I don't
Helena.
really like Helly or Helena, if I'm honest. I mean, Helly's a
Yeah.
little bit better, maybe, but she's not a very lovable character. So maybe I get why James said what he said. I'm just kidding. That was so mean.
That wasn't mean. I think it was just facts. I mean, she's acting. That's what we're meant to get for. I think we're meant to dislike her. But
Yeah.
are we blaming the women in this situation? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
God, we hate women.
I know. Yeah. But
I did not
will.
think a podcast would reveal this about us, by the way, but keep going.
Well, do we hate women or do they hate women? Because that's how the women characters were written.
They hate women for sure, but we're not backing up the women at all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're going along with them, making us feel how they intend for us to feel about them.
Yeah.
Which,
and that's why women end up hating women.
Yeah. Oh, wow. The patriarchy winning again.
No, we are fixing it. One podcast episode at a time. We're at least acknowledging it. That's the first step.
Okay, fair. Maybe we'll start. I mean, hacks lead to female leads. That's better. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, this is gonna be a fun time. I'm excited. Yes. Okay.
All right. Well, I guess then we will. Do we want to say that? Like, are we gonna still do them on Tuesdays? Like, release them on Tuesdays?
Can
or do we not want to
decide
that yet?
Yeah. Let's announce it another time.
Okay. Well, then we will see you all sometime in April.
Yay! See you guys then, or see you never. Bye.
See you never.
Yeah. Are you